NS Overseas Exercise in Taiwan. For those who have been through ASLC would surely be familiar with the 9 days 8 nights outfield in Taiwan. I still remember the very first day, we had a platoon deliberate attack up a knoll and occupied it for one night. As usual, we had 1/3 alert and were holding on to NVG and stuff. My ASLC OC was a crazy guy who would check on trainees at 3 AM alone if we were really doing our 1/3 alert to see if anyone dozed off. If found sleeping, we would get hell from him. So all of us would do our 1/3 alert duty very diligently, challenging passwords with anyone who approached our platoon. Then very unluckily my section was the point section and guarding the only entry point to the knoll where the whole platoon was harboring, so we must be extra on the ball. The other sections were deployed at areas not accessible by foot, thus they could slack more. Prior to our attack on this knoll, our PC briefed us a little on the knoll, told us not to go too near those few trees on our left as there's dead chickens there. We taught WTF dead chickens only but heeded his orders nevertheless. In the end, the attack was concentrated more to the right flank instead. To the main point of this story, as we were the point section guarding the only entry point to the knoll, our sentry point was situated at a strategic place where we could see the path that one had to walk in order to reach our knoll. This means that anyone who wanted to come to our knoll, we would be able to see him ABT 100-150 meter before he could actually reach us. Actually this was mainly targeted at our OC. And guess what, the most strategic place where we could locate was beside the trees, so Bo Bien had to station our sentries there. I was on shift with my buddy from 0 HRS to 200 HRS, then we stood down while another 2 of my section mates took over the equipment. For those on sentry, we would always look into the NVG every now and then to check if our OC was coming. By the way, it was about March, so weather was very cold, especially at night in the jungle. 0200 hours shift took over and started chit-chatting, and at around 0215 hours suddenly they heard the leaves rustle in the trees beside them. The trees were ABT 10 meters away only. Immediately they looked through the NVG, it appeared that one of the trees were shaking violently and it had a dead chicken tied to one of its branches. But the strange thing is it was a clear night, no winds blowing, and it's only that one tree that is shaking. All other trees nearby were calm and peaceful, and the trees were like clustered together, ABT 1-2 meters apart from each other. They also did not see any animals or anything. Being typical trainees, my 2 section mates immediately covered themselves with Gore-Tex jackets and didn't dare to look anymore, not even checking if OC was coming. They then reported the incident to my PC the next day, who declined to tell us more ABT the dead chickens. When we were about to leave Taiwan, my section commander then told us what actually happened. The dead chickens were actually offerings made to the spirit/supernatural in that area by farmers so that they would be blessed with good harvest. Prior to CISPAC training there, farmers would often discover their livestock being killed, and they taught its wild animals at 1ST until they consulted the local medium. Because the method of the livestock being killed was always the same, one thigh being torn out, heart being torn out, body totally drained of blood. So the farmers would tie live chickens upside down on the tree branches by tying the legs to the trees. My PC's instruction was to just stay clear of the area, but curiosity got the better of us. The next day when we were leaving the harbor place, a few of us purposely went near the trees to check out that area, and we found 2 dead chickens on 2 different trees. One was badly decayed while the other one still looked fresh, with one thigh being torn out, heart being torn out and totally drained of blood. But there's no blood on the ground, and bear in mind, at this point of time, we didn't know about the story behind the dead chickens. So when my SecCom told us about the dead chickens, it tallied with what we found.